I'm going.
You know what happened on February 9th of 2018?
No, what happened?
On February 9th, 2018, Congress and President Trump passed and signed the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2018. This bill was put in place to improve a number of healthcare provisions, which include
changes to Medicare, closure to the Part D donut hole, CHIP, and includes support for individuals with special needs.
To be effective, this bill includes spending caps, which suspend government borrowing to be more conscious about long-term spending.
Yeah, go.
M,
E.
D, I, C. What's my letter? A.
R.
So what was in place before this bill?
The Balanced Budget Act of 2015 came before this bill. The main issue with this bill was that it continued to raise government spending and ultimately caused the government to shut down.
There were two other bills before this 2015 Act, which proved to be ineffective spending alternatives to healthcare. It was clear that we needed a more effective bill to regulate government spending in healthcare.
So how long did it take for this new bill to pass?
It was introduced in the House in April of 2017, and then it was introduced in the Senate of May of 2017. The Senate passed the bill with a unanimous vote.
It then was passed in the House in February 2018, which was then signed by President Trump to make it public law. It passed!
So right here that I have is Dr. Early. He's an occupational therapist. And so Dr. Early, do you know how the Bipartisan Budget Act is going to affect your field or as an occupational therapist as a whole?
No, I don't. How will it affect me as an occupational therapist?
Oh, thanks for asking, and I'll tell you how. Alright, so as I said, I was going to tell you about what this bill does and how it's going to affect OTs. So first off, it's a big win. It permanently takes out the outpatient therapy caps, and it's been in place for 20 years, and we finally got it repealed. So that means that any individual that spends more than $2,000, we're able to give them more therapy sessions, but we also have to claim that that's medically necessary. Also, starting in 2024, this act is going to start cutting the funds from prevention and public health. That's going to target falls and preventions and chronic disease and self-management. So how does that affect us? Well, OTs play a huge role in fall preventions. So if we're cutting funding by $1.35 billion over the next 10 years, occupational therapists might be seen as much dealing with individuals that need some strategies to help them from falling. Also, this act is also going to start expanding access to telehealth. So what that entails is that we're going to start using more technology and devices that's going to help individuals in remote areas or not be able to have access to us. So including this and expanding the funding, we're able to provide these services and become more accessible and effective in our therapy sessions.
What populations does this 2018 bill directly impact?
This bill impacts CHIP children, Medicare extenders, clients with chronic pain, those who go to community health centers, family services, people affected with disaster, and those addicted to opioids.
Medicare!